Welcome to episode 559 of Apartment Hacker. This is Mike Burnett, Apartment Hacker. It's my mission to tease out human potential in the multifamily space. First and foremost, I want to welcome Spring Oaks to the Apartment Hacker family. I'm really behind. I've got several people that I need to give shout outs to, and I'll try to do that over the course of the next 10 or 15 episodes. But I wanted to talk today about a quote that I read this morning. Actually, it was a daily reading out of Peter Drucker's The Daily Drucker. And there was a line at the very end. Actually, it is a question, and it really is a question around how do you become great. And the punchline of how do you become great is you have to practice until you find life in your fingers. And in the course of the story, he was talking about a great composer and how the great composer, it was a pianist, how the great pianist really loves the work. So I know nothing about music, and if I mar this, my apologies to those of you who know a lot about music. But apparently, in order to become really good, you have to practice scales, I believe is what they're called. And you have to do that for 2 to 3 hours a day. Intentionally practice scales 2 or 3 hours a day. And as the story goes, that's a very boring exercise. But the people who become great at the piano love doing scales on a daily basis because they know what the end result, the outcome, the ultimate outcome of that daily exercise is. But beyond that, and furthermore, it really is that practice, the labor in that practice that brings them joy. And they've mindfully, intentionally decided that that piece of their art is the joy. And it brought to mind, and I've talked about this on this show before, gentleman named Joe back in Lubbock, Texas. I had just read a book called The Magic of Thinking Big by Dr. David Schwartz, and in that book he had talked about roughly the same concept, and Joe had come in and he was griping and complaining about turning apartments over. And I just, again, on the heels of reading that book and understanding that concept, I said to Joe, look, what is the thing you hate most about turning an apartment? He said, I hate caulking tile bathtubs, or stripping the caulk out and recaulking the corners and along the bottom of the bathtub and around the bottom of the toilet. And I said, I want you to do something for me for 30 days, the next 30 days, every single apartment that you go into, I want you to think about stripping caulk as your favorite thing on the planet Earth to do. And I want you to do it with the mind of a craftsman. And I want you to come back to me at the end of 30 days and I want you to tell me what happened or how you feel. So he intentionally did that for the next 30 days, and he came back to me, and I remember this like it was yesterday. There was big crocodile tears in his eyes, and he said, I am in love with turning over apartments now because I have exercised craftsmanship in putting these beads of caulk in the bathtub, on tile corners, and along the bottom of the bathtub, and base of the bathtub, and around the bottom of the commode, and I've become a master at it. And in becoming a master of it, I've become sort of in tune with and in love with what I do. And he wanted to take me over and show me, and so I went over to the apartment and I looked at this, and it was, I know nothing about the beauty of a bead of caulk, but I had been raised, my father was, stepfather was a welder, not a welder, but he could weld, and I knew the difference between a good weld and a bad weld, and so using that frame of reference, I looked at this bead of caulk and it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And I was so proud of Joe in the moment, but the overarching message here today is get busy, learning your craft, practicing those things that seem like mundane tasks with great intention for all that you will become. Take care, we'll talk again soon.